Hello, friends. Welcome back to the Say What podcast. My name is Hannah, and on this podcast, we like to talk about things that people don't want to say out loud. And most of those things have to do with sex, purity culture, painful sex, girly things, marriage, relationship, all the fun stuff. All of the fun stuff. That's what we like to talk about here. And the most important thing about this podcast, I want you to know, is two things. One, I'm always going to be honest with you, and I'm always going to be vulnerable. I pretty much pour my heart and soul out every single week on this podcast, and I'm just always going to be honest. I'm always going to be vulnerable. The second thing is that you are not alone. Those are the most important things, I think, that I want everyone to know about this podcast. And going back to the first one is that honest and vulnerable. I got to be so honest and vulnerable with you right now. I am in a sucky mind place right now. I am in a bad mood, and I'm trying to just let it go. I'm trying to let it roll off my shoulders to bring you guys a fun, good episode, because that is what I like to do here. I don't like to be negative. I don't like to bring the vibes down. However, I feel as if I'm bringing the vibes down. So it's my second time starting this episode, because I'm just I got to be better. I just need to be, I don't want to say I need to be happier, but I gotta bring the vibes to a better place. Gotta bring the vibes to a better place. I got a really frustrating email this morning, and it has just sent my day off onto a terrible place. My day started high, and then it immediately dropped low when I saw that email. And I just have not recovered since. Usually, if I'm having a bad day, if something sets me off, I can turn it around. I can find the good. I can be like, you know what? This is going to be okay. We're going to push through. It's going to be fine. But for some reason, this has just got me down. And I'm going to share what all of that is in a few minutes. But before we get to all of that, I want to talk about the Dallas Cowboy Cheerleaders, because that has been all I've been consuming this past week. And let me tell you, the way that I put my life on the line for the Making the Team Dallas Cowboy Cheerleaders that was on CMT, I put my life on the line for that show. The way that I watched every episode growing up, it is a miracle that I do not have an eating disorder, if I'm being so honest with you. Watching that show is just an eating disorder in general. I do not understand how I didn't have one. Thank God. Truly, that is not a thank God. I know I mean, thank the good Lord above that I made it out alive after watching that show. Well, it's on Netflix again, and it's not Making the Team. It's a different version of it. It's called America's Sweethearts. And I was like, you know what? Let's watch it. I watched it all. I know who Kelly and Judy are. I know how this goes. Let's watch it. And I watched it all, and I love it. I love hearing, I love cheerleading. I love dancing. I was a dancer, and I was a cheerleader, and so I just love watching all that. I love the uniforms and the sparkle and the routines and I love it all. I love seeing people dance and perform. I love it. And I just think it's so, so good seeing the heart and soul that gets put into this, how much the girls love it, how just encouraged they are, by their different teammates. I was going to say by their coaches. That is not true. Their coaches do not encourage them. But I just I love it. I love watching all of it. I'm obsessed. When I was a little girl, all I wanted to be was a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader, because that's all I watched. And I just couldn't wait to do it. I was a dancer and a cheerleader and all the things. And I just loved it. And so I'm watching it now. And as a grown woman, a 28-year-old, and which I, feel like I'm still 16 sometimes, but as a 28-year-old, I was watching it, and especially as a mom, and I couldn't be more sad, if I'm honest with you. I love the show because I just love all of the I love it. I love the dancing, the cheerleading, the glitz, the glam, the outfits. I mean, the outfits are quite revealing. But I love seeing them get ready for it. And I love hearing the girls' stories and how this DCC means so much to them. But just watching it honestly made me so sad, because I just was watching it and I was like, these women, their identity, some of them are so just taken over and so just invested in being a DCC. That is their whole identity, is a DCC and what people think of them. And as I'm watching it, I'm like, that's their entire livelihood. Nothing else matters to them. It's DCC or nothing. And just watching multiple girls go through that and talk about DCC, I was just so sad seeing where their identity was. And obviously some of the girls have their identity in Jesus, and they talked about that, and I think that's really encouraging. I think that's a really beautiful story. But a lot of them the way that the coaches talk about it, and the way that just everyone talks about DCC, it's this is your life, and you give your life to DCC, and nothing else matters. And then as I'm watching the episode, we get to their part where it's their little their book, and I think it's the last episode. They're showing you what's inside of their book. And I was like, of course their identity is in DCC, because they are literally told it has to be. And I just want to like read the little like mantra, I guess is what it is. I don't really know. I tried to look it up. Wasn't really clear on what it was, but I just want to read their little mantra to you because wow, really heartbreaking. It says, "What am I? I am a little thing with a big meaning. I help everybody. I unlock doors, open hearts, do away with prejudices. I create friendships and goodwill. I inspire respect and confidence. Everybody loves me. I bore nobody. I violate no law. I cost nothing. Many have praised me. None have condemned me. I am pleasing to everyone. I am useful every moment of the day. I am courtesy." When I saw that, my heart just sank. It truly sank. Just like that is what you believe by being a part of DCC, is that everybody loves you all the time, that you bore nobody, that you're perfect, that you have to be a little thing. Like, you have to be a little thing. I know that the look of DCC is very important to them, and they only take people who look a certain way, which is a huge problem. But it's like, you bore nobody. You were just courtesy. You were there for everybody to look at. And obviously, like, being a cheerleader for an NFL team, it is like entertainment. Like, your job is entertainment. However, your identity doesn't have to fully be in that. But DCC is like, nope, this is what it has to be in. And just the way it's like, everybody loves you. Number one, that's not true. And number 1B, that's okay. That is okay that everybody doesn't love you. Like, I was just reading this and I was like, that's so heartbreaking. It's like literally tells you that you have to be a people pleaser to be a part of DCC. And that is what is so just wrong with the world. And it's not just like, obviously this is the mantra for DCC, but I just think like so many women feel this way. Like this could have been written for them and how they have to live their life and how they have to be people pleasers. And it's so heartbreaking. It's like when your identity is in something that is not Jesus, it's going to be fleeting every time. And I just felt so bad for some of the girls who were like, I have no idea what I'm going to do after this. Like, I don't even know who I am or what I like to do, because this is my whole life. And that just goes to show, like, if your identity and your worth is put in something other than Jesus, like, it's never going to be fulfilling. It's never going to be fulfilling. You're always going to be searching for something, always going to be searching to feel fulfilled. And it just reminded me when I was watching it, like, how sad I was for like myself when my identity wasn't rooted fully in Jesus, and it was rooted in like what boys thought about me, which was very directly tied to like my physical appearance. And I know that goes a lot with DCC, but it was just like, I was so worried about if a boy liked me or not. And I had my full identity in what others thought about me. And I had no idea what I liked. I had no idea who I was, because I was just like, well, whatever somebody likes about me, or if I do this good thing, that's what is going to be good for everybody. And I just felt so sad for that Hanna and that person. But I just want to talk a little bit about the DCC stuff today, because I just been watching it and I do love the show. Like, it's entertaining, and like I said, I love the dancing and stuff, but it just made me really sad. And sad for the cheerleaders who believe that and who are told that. And it just makes me like hope and pray that their identity is in something other than that, because wow. And I mean, I know like obviously Dallas Cowboy Cheerleaders are not claiming to be like the Christian model for Christianity. I know that God and football often get like intermingled. However, because I'm like, clearly the outfits of that we talk about modesty not representing clothes all day. However, when you're wearing that, you're wearing that for a reason, to be looked at, and it talks about your curves in certain ways. So, and like how the outfit is meant to like show certain parts of your body and accentuate certain parts of your body for others to look at you. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's definitely not modesty and not Jesus. So I'm not saying that's like what we should do or go after. I wasn't saying that at all. Today, you guys, I'm trying so hard to record a good podcast for you, but I am not living my best life today, which is what the episode is about. I want to talk about when healing doesn't happen for you in the way that you thought it would, or in the timely manner that you thought it would, because that is just the exact place that I'm living right now. And it's really, really hard. Am I already going to cry? And we've been in this 5 minutes? No, I'm not. That's what I want to talk about today. But I want to talk about Dallas Cowboy Cheerleaders, but now I'm going to talk about this. So I got a really frustrating email this morning, and I have basically been going back and forth with my orthopedic surgeon here in North Carolina since January. I went to an appointment in January, and I was talking with the nurse there about getting a boot. And she said, okay, you can buy this boot. It's either going to be $50 here. Once I go check your insurance, it'll only be $50, or it will be, or you can get one on Amazon, and we can look and see how much they are on Amazon. It might be cheaper on Amazon. And I was like, okay, cool. Let's look on Amazon. On Amazon, they were like $75, $80. And whereas the boot, I could get it today and it was only going to be $50. So I'm obviously have all these medical bills from my broken leg. You guys, I broke 3 bones. My fibula, my tibia, and my ankle. So I broke 3 bones. And it's in the double digits of thousands of dollars, and I'm having to pay. It's way over $10,000, and I'm having to pay for this broken leg. And so I think it's probably about 10, maybe more. So it's definitely more. So I'm like watching where every penny is going. So when she tells me, let me go check your insurance and see. So she walks out of the room, comes back in, and is like, okay, yep, it's only $50. I said, great, we'll do that. That'll be cheaper, and I can get the boot today. So that is the biggest regret of my life was having that conversation. And I get a bill in the mail for $411. And it says for the boot. So obviously I call, I'm like, hey, I was told this was only going to be $50. And the billing department's like, I don't know why they told you that. Like, that's not what your insurance says. And so I call the office, and they're like, I talked to the nurse herself, and she's like, oh yeah, like that's wrong. Like that shouldn't have been that way. Like, I don't know why that said that. And I was like, right, you told me it was going to be $50. So why am I getting billed for something else? And so she talks to the department and is like, oh, well, your insurance actually says this. And I was like, okay, but you told me that you went and checked my insurance, and then you came back into the room and you told me that you did check my insurance and it was only $50. So this was your mistake. And now I'm having to pay money because you messed up. I'm not going to do that. I have to watch where every penny goes. And I've been going in circles with them for months. I mean, I think I saw the bill in like March maybe, and I've been going, March. So I've been doing this for months, since March, and going in circles because I felt super just manipulated. I felt like, I definitely don't think she was like meaning to tell me the wrong thing, but like, you can't tell somebody something's going to cost something and there not be repercussions. Like and then the cost is wrong and there's not repercussions. Like, I'm having to pay for your mistake. And I just kept saying over and over again, like, I'm not getting taken advantage of by the medical system and the billing system. Like, I know that the medical world and the medical billing world has billions of dollars in it. Like, you don't need my $411, especially when you told me that I was only going to have to pay $50. So we've gone in circles, and I finally got an email this morning because I've been fighting it. Like, I have talked with the head of the people at the orthopedic place, and basically they've said, like, the guy at one point was like, can you send your boot back? We can give you a refund. And then that actually is not an option anymore, which that sucks because he gave me hope that could work out, and now it's not. Finally got an email this morning that said that there's nothing else they can do, and I should just talk to patient relations. So I have not called the patient relations place. I'm literally about to cry because I have spent months trying to stand up for myself, and all because I broke my leg. And I just felt like it was such a slap in the face. Like, somebody messed up, and this office, they could just pay for it. Like, they easily could pay for it, and they're not. And I feel stuck. I don't know what to do. I don't feel like there's anything I can do at this point besides talk to the patient relations person and see if they can do anything. I highly doubt they can do anything. Because that's just like a place that you just report like people to. And here's the thing. I don't want anyone to lose their job either. Like, it was an honest mistake, and they have admitted that it was an honest mistake. Like, it was a mistake. They shouldn't have told me what they told me. However, I cannot pay for what this mistake that was made. Like, I didn't make the mistake, and I'm not paying for things. Like, I feel like there are laws in place that are supposed to protect me from things like this, but I haven't quite found anything super clear yet. But I just felt so just like taken advantage of. And the really, really sucky part with all of this is my insurance is I could only go see this one group of doctors with my insurance, and we did not realize that when we chose this insurance. So, and the only trauma orthopedic surgeon that I have to see, there's only 3 of them in this whole practice, and they all are at the same office. So I have to give them more of my money, more of my time, and trust that they're like telling me the truth about things, because now all walls are up and I have no trust. So I did decide to see a new doctor. So I'm not going to go to the same person anymore, but it's still the same office. I still have to walk in there, be in that environment when I just feel taken advantage of. And all this is important, okay? I'm not just like telling you my medical bill drama just for fun. It's important because when I got that email today, it just really set me off. Like, I was just like, this is so frustrating. I feel so taken advantage of. My leg is broken. I have thousands of dollars to pay in these. Like, I would give anything to go back to November 19th and take like one step to the right where I wouldn't have my leg broken. Like, I would literally give anything. And it just really threw off my whole day. And I've been in so much pain lately. And so I was thinking about today's episode, and it was going to give I Can Do It With a Broken Heart from Taylor Swift, because I was going to record something different and just like talk about something fun and lighthearted. And then, but I can't. I'm so honest and so vulnerable with this podcast that I can't just like fake it and act like everything's okay when it's not. And so I am changing the topic of today's episode, and we're going to be talking about when healing is not happening for you when you thought it would. And that's what I'm talking about right now. And so I have been hurting a lot lately, and there was a long time where I wasn't in any pain. And then it just kind of started coming back again, and I've been in a lot more pain. And I have stopped going to physical therapy because, again, I was told physical therapy was going to cost one thing, and it's actually costing something different because, again, my insurance wasn't going to tell me how much it would cost until I was going to the appointments, until they could log everything, which is so backwards. Like, I sometimes just say, like, I want to quit everything I'm doing and putting all my energy behind making medical offices print their prices. Like, you go to the grocery store and it says that a bag of chips is $3. Like, I want it to tell me that this is going to be $3 regardless of anything else. Like, that's all I could ask for so I can plan for things. Anyways, so I've stopped going to physical therapy. I've been in more pain. I also had to cancel my doctor's appointment that I was supposed to have and get my leg checked up on. I had to cancel that because we were sick, and so I haven't gone to that new appointment yet. And so I was hoping to get like a check to make sure everything was okay, but we haven't had that appointment yet. But I have just been in a lot of pain recently, and I thought I would share just some of my struggles with being in pain. And, you know, maybe you're listening to this and you're like, okay, my leg isn't broken, but I wish that the cause of my painful sex was healed. Like, I wish I didn't have vaginismus. I wish that like this emotional trauma I've been going through was healed. It's like whatever you're going through that you wish was healed but wasn't, like, maybe keep that in mind as I'm sharing part of my story, but in my experience with this right now. And so a couple weeks ago, my church had a prayer and worship service. And since being at this church, they really lean into the Holy Spirit in such a refreshing way, and just the gifts of the Holy Spirit in such a refreshing way. And I have felt the Lord more these last like year being in the church than I have in a long time, which has been really encouraging. And so I love our church, and they were having this prayer and worship service, and they said that this guy was coming to speak, and he was known for healing. Like he's known for his spiritual gift being healing, and he's known for praying for people and they receive like physical healing. And I heard that, and I was like, okay. So I immediately signed Tate up for childcare because Thomas has to work these events. So I immediately signed up Tate for childcare, and I was like, okay, I'm going to go. And all like leading up to it, I was like, you know, he could heal me, and I mean the Lord, and the Lord could use this man to heal me. And I was like, this could happen. This might happen. I don't know. And in the back of my mind, I just always had this like unbelief that it's not going to happen for me. And I know that all you have to have is the faith of a mustard seed. I get it. That's what scripture says. But I always had this like little piece in the back of my mind. Like no matter how much I was like praying and talking to the Lord, and I was like, I know I can be healed. I know that you can do this. I believe you can do this. There's just a little tiny piece in the back of my mind that was like, it's just not in the cards for you. Like, it's just not going to happen. How are you going to be in so much pain and then you can jump up and down and you're not in pain anymore? Which is so bizarre that I would say that, because when I was 16, I hurt this same leg and ended up with really bad nerve pain. And at one point, I was diagnosed with chronic regional pain syndrome. And I went to a conference and we had this prayer moment this like healing moment. And I was able to walk and I had no more pain. And that happened for me. And I didn't have pain for 3 years. And maybe the fact that it came back after 3 years is what makes me have this like disbelief that the Lord can heal me. I don't know, but I did. Like, I was able to walk and didn't have any pain. And so I was just thinking about this service and just was like, no, the Lord can heal me. I've been listening to all of my like worship music that talks about healing and listening to just the songs about how he can heal you and he'll do it again. And I just think back to all the times that he has healed me in my life. He healed me from vaginismus. That's not who I am anymore. He healed me from the trauma of the church abuse that I was a part of. I was not abused like myself, but I was involved in a lot of church hurt, and the Lord healed me from that. And it's a miracle that I feel like I still even come to church and am involved in church these days. He healed me from that. And there's so many things that he has just healed in my life, in my marriage. And I know all these things and I know that he's healed them. And so I'm like, okay, he can do this for me. Hopefully he will do this for me, but I don't know if he's going to do this for me. And I just kept like leading up to the night was just like, I believe, and I kept like telling myself like, I believe, but there was just like this little piece in the back of my mind that I couldn't shake, that it was like my disbelief. And so I finally get to the service, and you guys, that whole like day and leading up to the service, I'm like shaky. My hands are sweaty. I just feel such a weight on my chest. I feel it in my bones. I'm just like, I'm so nervous. I'm so anxious. Like, I just want to get to the prayer part. I just want it to happen for me. And I just like kept like telling myself like, I believe. But I think I still had this like little bit of not belief it could happen for me. And so during the service, we have a moment of like prayer, and this guy's like exhorting and like speaking things over people. And I just like had a moment. I was like, okay, I'm going to repent for not believing, because I know that this has been like holding me back and in my like not believing that the Lord can heal me. So I like felt like I had this really powerful moment with the Lord where I repented for my unbelief, and I like asked the Lord to forgive me, and I felt like he forgave me. And I told him like, I'm just going to have the faith the size of a mustard seed, and it's going to be good. It's going to happen. And so the moment comes at the end of service where they have like, okay, if you are asking for prayer for healing, for physical healing, like come down. So they have all these people at the front, and so I'm like, okay, I'm just going to do it. And I didn't go to the guy because he had a lot of people waiting for him. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to go to somebody else. And I just like felt like this one woman that I could go up to was the person I needed to go to. So I like walked over to her, and she prayed for me. And she was like, after she prayed for me, she was like, how do you feel? And I was like, I am still hurting. I was like, but it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I'm hurting, but like, it's okay. And then she prayed for me again, and she like asked me where she could specifically like touch my leg, and she touched my leg. And after the prayer, she was like, okay, how do you feel? And I was like, it still hurts. And I was trying to be really positive. I was like, it's okay. Like, it's going to be fine. And she just like told me, she was like, walk and believe that the Lord will heal you. And I was like, okay. And so like I walked away and believing the Lord would heal me, and he didn't. And then my friends prayed for me later that service, and it still didn't happen. And the next day I had more pain than I've had in who can say how long. And I was just like, okay. Got it. Not my time. And I was really wrestling with it a lot of like, not my time. And ever since then, I've been really just wrestling in my brain, like, did I not go to the guy, and that's why he didn't heal me? I'm like, well, no, the Lord could have used anybody. And I just really wrestling with like, okay, it was not my time, and that's okay. It was not my time for healing, and that's okay. It doesn't mean my healing won't come, but at the time, it was not my time. And I was really wrestling with that and really trying to be okay with that. And it just brought me back to like the moments when I was dealing with painful sex and thinking like it was never going to get better. And then it got better. And so I'm trying to really channel that energy right now of like, it didn't happen then, but it can happen. And during this time of like reflecting about this, I've been thinking like, what are some things that have helped me in my like struggles with this. And it's that, okay, the Lord has healed me, and it may not look the way that I thought it was going to look, but he has healed me. I can walk. I broke 3 bones in my leg, and I can walk. And that is a huge deal. I have a titanium rod in my leg. I couldn't even tell you how many screws. Like, I probably should look that up. Like, I would love to know how many screws I have in my leg. Like, I have a lot of screws in my leg, and I can walk. Like, I can jump. I can run. It is painful, but I can do it. My physical therapist has told me it would take me a year to be healed. And I am not at that year mark yet. I'm getting close, but I'm not there yet. And so I just keep telling myself, like, I may not be healed yet, but it will come. But I have been healed in different ways. I have been healed in the fact that I can get up and walk. I've been healed in the fact that I can take my son to the museum and walk around and have fun and enjoy our time together. Like, I can do those things. Even if it looks like I can't, I can. And so I'm just trying to like really channel those things. And something that the pastor said during that message, like really during when he was preaching that night about worry, really like changed my perspective on things. Like it truly, I mean, his message, I've never heard somebody speak about worry before in the way that he did. It like really changed everything for me, like hearing his message. I have really changed my perspective on worrying because it was just like so good. But something he said something in here that like really like changed my perspective or really stood out to me. He said, God didn't keep her from, he kept her for. And he was talking about Sarah and how she didn't conceive until she was in her 90s. And I was just thinking, like, God didn't keep me from healing. He has kept me for the time of healing that he wants me to have, because I don't even know yet what that's going to impact. You know, like, I don't even know the people that are going to be impacted when I share my story of healing. I had no idea when I was going through my vaginismus that when I was healed 7 months later, that was the time I needed to be healed, so I could share with people that I was healed from vaginismus because the Lord healed me, because I did the work to heal my body. I went to pelvic floor therapy. I used dilators. I went to therapy. I believed. I asked the Lord. I begged the Lord, and he healed me. He healed me, and he healed me at the time that he wanted me to heal. And now I'm able to share with so many of you my story of healing and encourage you to take the steps towards healing and encourage you to go to therapy, encourage you in your relationship with the Lord. And now, like, you guys are experiencing healing, but it had to be in his time. And now I can see, oh, that made sense, because I needed to go through that so I could talk to other people about it and give you guys encouragement. And I keep trying to tell myself that, like, okay, I'm going through this broken leg so I can encourage other people. I saw a comment on a YouTube video the other day that was like, I needed this message, and it was about when I had broken my leg. I was talking about breaking my leg, and she was like, I just broke my leg, I have babies at home, and I need this message. And I read that the night that we had the worship service, and I was like, okay, God, so you're reminding me that, like, you're using my story to help other people, and I am just gonna believe that, like, my time isn't here yet, and it's gonna come, and I'm gonna be grateful for what you have done in the meantime. And so I keep telling myself that. And something that the guy was talking about with worry in his message was, he was saying, like, trading the word worry for believing. So instead of saying, like, I'm worrying, say I'm believing, and how we truly have to take that one day at a time. And, you know, this is not like revolutionary. The Bible literally says, my daily bread. Thank you for giving my daily bread. And I am really going to try and live in a mindset of, like, daily bread, you know, live in a mindset of daily bread, live in a mindset of I'm believing, I am not worrying. And I cannot preach his message the way that he did. It is extravagant, the way that he was able to speak these things that I had never heard spoke this way before. I've really just been trying to take the mindset of, like, I am believing for healing and not worrying about healing. And I just wanted to, like, share that today, because I know that there's so many of you who are worried about your painful sex, or worried about your marriage, or worried about, like, the trauma that you've gone through in your childhood or whatever. And instead of, like, worrying that you'll never be healed, I want to encourage you to change it to believing. And it really does, like, change my mindset. Like, even from the beginning of this episode to now, I'm in a better headspace because I'm believing that the Lord is going to take care of me. I'm believing that the Lord is going to take care of this bill that I have. He's already showed up in the finances for my family time and time again. Like, I can't tell you how many times he's, like, shown up for us in that way. And I am just believing that he is going to take care of this too. Like, I am such a big believer in tithing, because God asks us to do it in scripture, but also like I've seen the fruits of it in my own life. And so I'm just believing like, okay, we tithe every month. Like, the Lord has taken care of us time and time again, financially and in general, but financially. And so he did it once, he can do it again. And so I am just believing that so much. And like I said, even just talking about it now, it's brought me to a better place than when I started this episode. And so maybe this episode today was just to like remind you guys that healing is possible, that I want to help encourage you to like pick a new pathway in your brain. You know that we like to talk about going from one pathway to the other, from the lie to the truth and then to scripture. And so let's do that with our healing. You know, like the lie is I'm not healed. And the truth is I am healed. It just looks differently than how I thought. And while it looks different than I thought and I am disappointed, that doesn't mean that the full healing is not going to come either. And I'm going to keep believing that it's going to come. But in the meantime, I'm going to try to remain grateful that I can walk, because I didn't think that I could walk. The doctors always told me, like, you're going to be able to walk and you'll be fine. My physical therapist was like, you're going to walk, you're going to be fine. You're young, you're healthy, like, you're going to be okay. But I was like, there's no way. There's no way. And even right before I recorded this episode, I was walking downstairs and I had to stop because I was in so much pain. And it sucks. It sucks so bad. But I know that, like, this is not the end of my story, that the Lord is still working. And maybe today you just needed to be encouraged that like healing is possible for you for whatever you're going to. And I just want to encourage you to like just change the pathway from I'm worried to I'm believing. That's what we're switching over today, from I'm worried to I'm believing. You've got this. I wish that I had like more revolutionary things for you today. But I hope that was an encouragement for you, just sharing where I'm at. And yeah, we're healing. We're healing. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. It has already happened. It just may look different, but I believe it. Like, there are ways that it can look different. And I also just am thinking, like, it's okay to be disappointed if it looks different than what you thought. Like, it's totally normal and totally okay to grieve that. I have grieved it a lot, and I just want you to know, like, it is okay for you to grieve that as well. I don't want you to feel like you have to be happy. And I'm not over here trying to say that we need to lean into some toxic positivity, because I hate toxic positivity. I really do. But I am positive a lot of times, and I am a glass half full person. And I really think a lot of that is because I have Jesus and I can see the good that comes out of things. So that's it for today. I love you so much. Thank you for hanging out. I just want to remind you guys to please like and subscribe on like the videos on YouTube. Subscribe on YouTube. I have hit my goal. I'm so excited. I've hit my goal on YouTube of 100 subscribers, and it's just only up from here, friends. It is only up from here. On YouTube, I am posting other content besides just the podcast as well, which is really fun. So if you could just do that, that would be super helpful. I love you guys so much, and we will talk soon.